Good morning, everybody. My name is Imani Abdul Rahman, and I'm just here to speak on my experience with the nonprofit organization Rock Now that's funded by Sister Asia Tamimi. I was a participant in Miss Tamimi's life skills course, which helps young brothers and sisters in the neighborhood, in the inner city, find employment, get into school, whatever they feel like they need to do in order to live a more fulfilling life, a better life. Whether it's helping with the interviewing process, whether it's if they need assistance with rehab or, things like that, school. This course was amazing. I feel like before the course started, I feel like I was already knowledgeable about a lot of things. However, this course gave me the confidence that I needed to go out and get the job that I wanted. Not just a job that I felt like I could get, but something that I really set my mind to. And I said, okay, I want to get into this establishment. This is what I need to do to get here. And I did get that job. And after that, I got another job, a better job, a higher paying job, because I had the confidence within myself to do it. Another thing about this life skills course is it was done in honor of my beloved brother, Isabe Jeffcoat, who was killed in Washington, D.C. in 2020. And my initial reason for going was because it was in honor of my brother. And I wanted to support that just because of that initially. I didn't know that I was going to continue to come back week after week, sometimes 2 times a week. That wasn't the goal for me. And I'm just so honored to have graduated from her course. I'm so proud that my brother was such a inspiring person that he could help her see her vision through, and that the love that he had for her and for his community is now helping countless, other families to rebuild and to find jobs. And so I'm just so proud of that. And I would like to welcome the beautiful, the wonderful, honorable Mayor Muriel Bowser. Thank you so much.
Well, let's give Imani a big round of applause. Thank you for sharing with us. And I want to thank you all for being here as well. It is important that we hear from our own residents about their own experience, about working with the government, and about their own hopes and dreams for their lives. I tell people frequently a lot of the programs that we are developed are for our fellow Washingtonians, our sisters, our nieces, our friends, cousins, co-workers who want the same things in their lives that everybody else wants. And that's why the work that we do is so critical, to have programs and services that meet people where they are and help connect to great employment, better employment, and careers that are going to give you a great life right here in Washington, D.C. So congratulations on your journey. And I want to be here. I'm joined by members of my public safety team, including Deputy Mayor Lindsay Appiah, who's here, as well as the city administrator for the District of Columbia, Kevin Donahue. And I'm joined by Delano Hunter, who is here right in front. Delano is the director of the Department of Parks and Recreation. And last year, I asked him to step up and help me in another leadership capacity, which he accepted and has done a great job leading as well the director of as director of the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement for 11 months. And we appreciate that, while at the same time creating fantastic programs and services for our young people, camps for our young people, and engaging opportunities for everybody else, our seniors and people in the middle, to enjoy our wonderful park system, which is number one in the United States of America. I also want to acknowledge Linda Harllee Harper, who is the Director of Gun Violence Prevention. So today we're making an announcement because for the last 11 months we have been really taking a hard look at our violence intervention programs that are housed at ONES, and really focused on what we need to do to take them to the next level. So I'm proud today to announce that Linda Harllee Harper is going to be our Director of the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. So you will know that I named Linda the inaugural director of the Office of Gun Violence Prevention, where she has focused on our policy work across the government as it relates to gun violence prevention. And I know that she will do an incredible job, focus on the operational part of the policy work that she has been doing. Linda's career in D.C. Is a long one, focused on young people at DYRS and Court Social Services, and in my administration as the Gun Violence Prevention Director, and now as well the Director of the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. I want to thank my whole team at the ONES office. Give them a big round of applause. I want to thank them for working with us through transitions and continuing to be very focused on the critical job that they have to do. And their job is critical, right? Yes. It's about saving lives. And we know that saving lives, when I talk about public safety, whether it's police or opportunity programs or summer youth, is really about saving lives and saving the lives of young people. We know that part of the work that we have been doing is to help community organizations help us do this work. The Office of Gun Violence Prevention, for example, has awarded grants to 145 residents and community-based organizations. And these grants empower people who already live and breathe DC. And today we're announcing 25 additional awardees, many of whom are with us today. We're also announcing new grant opportunities at DPR. We announced last year that we would be doubling our summer camp slots in 2023 and adding 1,200 more sporting opportunities for girls. And we need people to help us get that work done. We have $3 million in grant funding available, which we expect to reach 10,000 young people. So I'm going to ask Director Harper to speak a little bit more about that. But first, I want to call up our Director of the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, Director Harllee Harper, to discuss our awardees and anything else related to her new role. Thank you, Director Harllee Harper.
Good morning. I want to thank the mayor for this amazing opportunity. I am so honored to follow behind an amazing foundation that's been set at the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, to follow behind Director Del McFadden and now Director Hunter, who has been there for 11 months. I know that I'm stepping into an agency that's been working hard for the last 5 years to become great and tackling amazing and huge challenges. And so looking forward to taking the helm, and definitely want to thank you, Mayor, for having faith in me and my leadership and being able to lead this agency to the next chapter. I want to thank the grantees that are here today, the Building Blocks grantees. So wave your hand if you're a Building Blocks grantee. So, I judge the success of the grantee program a lot by my movement in the community, because one thing about DC is that our folks will let me know how we're doing. And so I hear so much about the impact that the Building Blocks grants are having on our residents and on our communities. And I hear about grantees who have gotten grants, gone on to get grants from other places. And so really proud of the Building Blocks grantee program, and we will be launching another round in the near future. And on February, in another week, there'll be an announcement about the next round of Building Blocks grants. So be prepared for that. But Director Hunter is going to talk about the DPR grants that are coming out, which all of it's exciting, because what we know is that the government does not have the answers to everything. We know that we need our community to partner, and our community grants for Building Blocks, for DPR, from DYRS, we know that what they do is create opportunities for the concerned and committed residents of the district to play their part and to play their role in helping us to ensure public safety. So with that being said, thank you. I want to acknowledge the Office of Gun Violence Prevention team that's here with me today. We have spent the last time that since I've been in the role, standing up the office and looking at the national landscape of gun violence and being in communication with the White House and other jurisdictions who are struggling with gun violence. And so this is the next logical step for us to be able to combine the two of policy and practice. And so really looking forward to it. So thank you to the OGBB team. We will continue that good work, and we will be partners with the practice work. So with that being said, thank you, Delano Hunter, for passing the baton, passing the baton to me. And I'm looking forward to continued partnership, and thank you for all that you've done to help the ONE's office over the last 11 months.
All right, good morning. Again, my name is Delano Hunter, and first I want to congratulate Director Harllee Harper. I look forward to working with you and our continued partnership. And I'd like to thank Mayor Bowser. I'm a native Washingtonian, so the opportunity to serve is something that I don't take for granted. So not just having a platform, but platforms is the highest professional honor. I also want to thank the city administrator and the deputy mayor for their support, and a special thank you to the men and women of the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. Over the last nearly year, I've been inspired by your resilience, your professionalism, your passion and commitment, and you personify what it means to be a public servant. Without a shadow of a doubt, I know collectively we have both saved lives and transformed lives, and I don't think there isn't a higher honor than that, so thank you. One of the things that has been abundantly clear through the work of OGVP and ONES is that it takes a community to do this work. I have never been of the belief that government has all of the solutions. We are a player. We have a role to play. But the greatest thing we can do is empower other people to be a part of the solution. So with that in mind, I went to the mayor and Deputy Mayor Paul Kine nearly a year ago, and I said, hey, I recognize we are the largest recreator, but we aren't the only recreator. And over the last 4.5 years, we have had hundreds of organizations that have reached out for support. Some organizations that are doing tremendous work in the recreation space that previously just didn't have access to funding and support to continue their mission. So I'm grateful to the mayor and the deputy mayor and the city administrator for giving us an opportunity to launch the Recreation for All community grants, and I'll tell you a bit more about it. All right, so the Recreation for All community grants will empower community-based organizations to engage our youth ages 6 through 18 through grants with the emphasis on young folks in communities that have barriers to access. We know some can't access centers because of neighborhood conflict, and then we know in other places our kids just don't have exposure to certain recreation fields. I think about esports. I think of gymnastics. We think of other opportunities that are cost prohibitive. So this is for organizations that have a track record and history in recreation, and we will hope to reach. The mayor said 10,000. That is conservative. I want to reach 20,000 young people. 20,000 young people before the end of the fiscal year with additional recreation opportunities. And we hope to do that work through empowering, at a very minimum, 250 organizations. So we'll have 4 types of grants. Support grants, those are up to $5,000 that can be used for purchasing equipment, supplies, and materials for existing programs. engagement grants, which are up to $10,000 to support field trips and enrichment activities for young folks that are already engaged in your recreation program or offering. We'll have an event and travel grant. I think we all know teams that travel outside of the area that need support. So up to $10,000 to provide travel for athletic competition and youth groups, and also a programming grant, which is up to $150,000, which is geared towards organizations that have recurring programming. So recreation is more than just athletics. We're thinking about cultural arts and fine arts, culinary arts, nature-based programming, youth development, so anything in a recreation space. And certainly while we believe in the value, and we have great, amazing, high-impact tutoring, and also we have great workforce development programs, this really is geared towards recreation. So we're really, really excited about that. And there are a number of recreators here in the audience, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm really excited about that. The grants are open now. We'll begin evaluating applications on a rolling basis beginning on the 22nd. We have weekly information sessions. I ask that you go to dpr.dc.gov to learn more information. And this is a tongue twister, or also recforallgrants.splashthat.com. So a tongue twister, but if you go to dpr.dc.gov, that'll take you to where you need to go to learn more information. So really excited about that. Thank you, Mayor Bowser. And with that, I'll turn it back to our mayor for questions. Thanks.
So you heard it, more opportunities for recreation grants to address our priorities that Delano just outlined, as well as additional opportunities for building blocks grants, and that announcement will be made next week. In the way of announcements, two final ones. One is that we have our second Budget Engagement Forum tonight, 6 p.m. at Jackson Reed High School, and our final Budget Engagement Forum this Saturday at 11 a.m. at Eastern High School. Now, the seniors of D.C. had theirs yesterday, and they got in some good ideas. So everybody else, time to get in your good ideas. All right. Any questions? Press questions first. Yes, sir.
Mayor Bowser, and I apologize if it was said and I missed it, but the grants that the director just illustrated for us, were those the $3 million in grants that you spoke of at the top of your remarks?
Yes.
Those are that you're talking about the same. So
Yes.
can you tell the citizens how combining these two offices is going to further help reduce the violence?
Well, the offices, first of all, the Office of Neighborhood and Safety and Engagement, we started, I think it's 5 years ago, and it was the district's first major entrance into this violence interruption work. And our approach has been to work with trusted community organizations to hire DC residents who are close to neighborhoods that can interrupt cycles of violence. And frankly, while Delano has spent 11 months there, part of my rationale was to have one of my cabinet members who's been very successful in implementing programs help us figure out the ways to take it to the next level. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to work with our great team. We're going to work with our contractors. And we're going to use Linda's experience with working with both contractors and inside the government to interrupt violence. And so we think it's a win-win, bringing her policy expertise to bear on the operations of this relatively new agency. Yes.
Can you clarify a bit more what it means to combine those two offices? Will the staff stay from the Office of Gun Violence Prevention and just move to one's? And just if you could speak more to what that actually looks like in practice.
You mean their desks?
Like the staff, will they all remain employed by the city government?
Yes.
Will their jobs change?
Perhaps, but that's not where we are right now. Organizationally, nothing changes. The boxes, the people stay in the same place organizationally. The Office of Gun Violence Prevention, for example, sits in the city administrator's office. The Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement is in the public safety cluster. Having said all of that, it has one leader, and we think that's important. And in fact, we think that's important for a lot of our violence interruption work. And so that's why we're combining it.
To clarify, the Office of Gun Violence Prevention still exists. It's
It
just
does.
now under one's.
No. Hear me well. I just said it. It remains in the same place organizationally in the Office of the City Administrator and the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement is in the same place in the Public Safety Cluster. Now, that's an organizational issue, but I think for all intents and purposes, our purpose was to combine it under one leadership to direct, because the work really should be directed by one leader. Okay.
Two off-topic questions, Mayor. One, you've been making a lot of cabinet and personnel moves and announcements. Can you update us on where you are with a director for the Department of Health?
We're recruiting. We continue to recruit.
Are you having trouble finding somebody? Or I think this may be one of the longest. This has been open longer, I think, than you knew OUC needed a replacement.
I have a rule about making appointments. I only make them when I have the exact right person. And these appointments are important, and I do my best to get it right. So when I feel like that's where we are with health, then I'm looking forward to bringing that to the public.
And then, as we speak, the House of Representatives is voting on the disapproval resolution. I know you've been very clear about where you and the chairman stand about congressional interference and that this has to still work through the Senate and the White House. But Republicans have already started saying that if they're not successful in blocking these bills, they'll do what they have been successful in the past, and that is attaching riders that would block the district's ability to spend money, for instance, to register non-citizens to vote. And members of Congress have been complaining about allowing Chinese embassy employees, Russian embassy employees here in the United States to vote in local elections. Can you respond to that? Can you talk a little bit about what you would do if they do put a rider on that would not allow D.C. to spend dollars to register these voters, and just how they're framing this as an assault on their words, an assault on the ballot box?
Well, Mark, we are, I think we all, residents of the District of Columbia, have to recognize where we are. We have a divided government. We haven't been in this position in a little bit, and we have a Congress, especially a House of Representatives, who is very aggressive towards the district, and I'm being polite when I say that. Some, you can understand some of their comments, and some of their comments are frankly just bizarre. Where we stand is that we have an elected legislature and mayor that makes the laws for the district, and the Congress should not interfere with our local governance. Period. We know, and we have lived with riders. We continue to have a rider on our ability that prevents us from being able to tax and regulate marijuana, which quite frankly I think is a public safety issue, that prevents us from using our local dollars on women's reproductive health. For years we had a rider that prevented us from having clean needle exchange, which we know let's just face it, it killed D.C. residents. So we know that the Congress, especially the Republicans, will attack largely social issues, and they'll do things, or they'll try to do things in the district that they can't do at home to score points. And so I think that's what you're seeing in this debate today, though I haven't been able to follow it closely. It's the same, the same play. We're going to attack the district on social issues, be it crime or immigration in this case. But I just mentioned other things that they have attacked us on related to marijuana and women's reproductive health. So as we are entering this phase, we have to remember we have a democratically controlled Senate and White House that can be there for a backstop. And we're going to have to fight to prevent riders from getting on must-pass bills. The district has been in this position before, and we're going to work with our congressman, our congresswoman, to fight back. Yes.
Director Hunter, you mentioned, I believe it was 250 organizations that your government is hoping to dole out grants to. How are you going to be able to tell where that money is well spent? How can you evaluate that outreach?
Thank you. So we are targeting organizations that have experience doing recreation. So many of the organizations are no stranger. They currently work in the recreation space. We do have an evaluation panel comprised of stakeholders from the community that will help us to evaluate the grants. And also, through the mayor's support, we now have a grants monitoring team, and we'll empower other stakeholders to help us to monitor the grants. And also, signups will be publicly accessible. Many of the organizations have indicated, hey, this will allow us to serve even more youth. Other youth from the community will have an opportunity to sign up.
Besides reaching 250 organizations and investing in that number, what does success there look like to you at the end of the day? How will you be able to tell that your money went somewhere useful to the community?
Sure. So in recreation, we believe that one of the strongest forms of intervention is prevention. So the goal here is to engage youth. We know from the Centers of Disease Control, there's a study about risk factors for youth, and they say that to address those risk factors, certain things need to happen, right? They need to be in a safe and supportive environment. They need to be around caring adults. They need to have structured activities to be able to learn conflict resolution and teamwork. We know that those are investments that I know will have an immediate impact, but even more so, it'll have a longer impact in the years ahead. We want kids that are 10, 11, 12, 13 now to stay connected to entities and organizations and individuals that care about them with the hope of preventing the challenges that we may see now amongst our young folks that are not connected to caring and structured supportive programs.
I have a question for Mr. Delano, if I'm saying your name correct. We just got our first grant, and we were so happy. We're in the Brentwood area. We just had our first event. We had all the resources. Dora, Mr. Brown, Jasmine, the 202 Peace Walk, and everything. So the problem was that we couldn't get the Department of Recreation to give us a slot in to do it in the recreation. We filled out the form on the DPR online and everything. It took us the day before our event to get approved. Is there any way easier for us, the ones who have the grant and the nonprofit organization, not saying to make it shortcut, for us to get through to have events for the youth? We had so many youth, young black men at our events, kids, seniors. Dora provided us with underwears and socks, because a lot of people say coat drive. We're in the trenches, so we asked the kids what they need, the toiletry and everything. It was outstanding. I wish the news was there as well. But the problem is that we can't get a venue within our community to, to have these events.
Sure. I'm really excited. Brentwood's hours will expand from 12 to 8, which it is now, to over 68 hours, so almost an additional 38 hours to be able to serve residents and meet that demand. And that'll happen the first week of March. So I'm more than happy to speak with you specifically, but it's exactly what we want. In fact, we're having a seniors homecoming at Brentwood at this very moment. Exactly. So I'll see you there. I'll see you there as well. We're investing through Recreation for All. We're investing in Brentwood Recreation Center in a way that we just have not been able to do so in ever. So I'm really excited about that, and really excited to learn about your organization. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.